What is up, everyone? Welcome to the AEW Full Gear post show. It is Denise Salcedo and Righteous Reg. We are the California Connection. It is Saturday, November 23rd, and we just finished a pretty lengthy pay-per-view that kind of had a lot that went down here tonight. Some things that hit, some things that missed. Let's break it down. Reg, how are you?
Doing well, Denise. Just finished up the Full Gear watch along, and there were some moments. There was a couple of moments which I thought would be a little bit stronger. A couple of matches I thought that taking a different angle with them might have made them hit a little bit harder. But I thought for the most part, everything was pretty good. Pretty well put together show here.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it was a pretty predictable show. I mean, Reg, I clean sweeped. I got all my winners' predictions correct, even though for a second I doubted myself. So this is where I was confused at. So I put out a little graphic with my picks of everybody that I was like, okay, this person's winning, this person's winning. I shared it with everybody, all of that stuff. And I get a text from a good friend. I think we all know my good friend. Sends me a text and he says, LOL. I'm at a party and I'm reading this and I'm on LOL. He's like, I saw your pics. LOL. And I'm like, I'm wrong in something. I don't know which match I'm wrong in, but I'm clearly wrong in a match. And so by the time we got to the second to last match, I started going, is Bobby Lashley going to lose to Swerve? Because that was the one where I wasn't too sure. And then I thought, like, there's no way Orange Cassidy is defeating Jon Moxley. And I'm like, which match did I get wrong? Turns out, Will sent me the LOL because I was mother effing right on all of them. And he was trying to get me to think that I was wrong.
Yes, he trolled you. He got you good. It worked. It worked
because I was waiting the whole time like where are we at this point? Like all of my picks are right. Like match after match after match. Where did I go wrong in this? So, but here's the thing though. I do think that it was the right outcome for every single winner. But like we said earlier, some matches hit, some matches didn't. I want to start off with the ending of the show because I think, I mean, obviously that's the thing we just watched right now. And I have a feeling that a lot of people might feel the exact same way. And I think the feeling might be that it was a little bit overbooked at the end where they added a lot of extra stuff that really totally need. But basically the ending, of course, was Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, AEW World Championship. There was a moment in there, Reg, where we saw Orange Cassidy hit Jon Moxley with that briefcase. And we thought for a split second, holy shit, this might actually be a win for Orange Cassidy, even though we went into it not expecting Orange Cassidy to win. But of course, we end up getting Wheeler Yuta, who comes out, helps out Jon Moxley, which I kind of thought was lame. I didn't think we needed Wheeler Yuta in this to help out Jon Moxley, so I didn't like that. Jon Moxley gets his win. Okay, cool. That's what we pretty much expected. Fine. But then after this, all of a sudden, everybody and their mother comes out. Like we see the conglomeration out there. Who else came out there? Was conglomeration? We can't even talk anymore.
Conglomeration.
Conglomeration.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We had
it was just a conglomeration.
Whatever. And then and then we had Hangman go out there and Jay White go out there.
Yeah.
Like we said, guys, kind of a little overbooked at this point where all of a sudden everybody's coming out. Christian. That's where I was at. Thank you. Yep. Christian comes out and he kind of teases that he may be cashing in this contract on Jon Moxley, and it looked like for a second that Hangman Page was helping him out. I even thought that they may have came up with an agreement, but it doesn't look like it. And Jay White comes out and attacks Christian Cage, and then Pac and Claudio Castagnoli come out and attack Jay White. There's a whole lot of shit that went down. This all led to a scene in the parking lot. You see how crazy this sounds.
It's a lot.
And Darby Allin comes in a car and crashes their car. They're not in the car. They manage to get in the car and leave the vicinity. And then Darby Allin's super pissed and he's like yelling on top of the car. He almost slipped. I was terrified, but it's Darby Allin. He does what he does. And that was the ending of AEW Full Gear.
That was a lot, Denise. Jeez Louise, broke it all the way down. I think the main event went, as the match, it went a lot better than I expected with Orange making a comeback. Orange is bloody. Mox is dominating a lot of the match. I thought that the role that he played was pretty well. He was a step faster than he usually is, Mox, so it felt like he was bringing the aggression a little bit better. That was one of the best false finishes of the whole show was Orange Cassidy catching Moxley with the briefcase. 2.99. Mox kicks out. Like, we knew that this is Mox's show, but that little flash of moment, I thought, oh, maybe Orange Cassidy could do it, but he didn't do it. I mean, for the story, I know you didn't like the Yuta thing, but they've been attaching Yuta to this bit for the last month. We know the relationship he has with Orange Cassidy, the Chuck Taylor thing. They've been hounding Yuta and forcing him into things he doesn't want to do. Now he's coming to his own. He helped his team. He helped Mox win. Only thing I don't like about it is, like, I know the Death Riders thing, you're establishing they're all a unit, they work together, but like, Moxley, you're a badass. You're talking all this stuff, and the way that you win is by having all of your people come and help. And like, AEW, we're the best wrestle. We have these big matches, and like ending it with shenanigans, kind of, I don't think that's the best way to go, but I understand for the story. Again, after all the shenanigans happening, Christian Cage comes down, teases the thing. Hangman Adam Page comes down, teases a thing. Jay White comes down, teases the thing. At the end of this, I still have the same idea because they ended the show with Darby Allin coming with this car. I still, again, want Darby Allin to be the one to beat Jon Moxley at every corner. Anytime that the Death Riders get over on somebody, they look like they're going to get away clean without any kind of issues. Here comes Darby Allin every time. No matter what, Darby Allin is there on their ass. So again, you're telling me that the hero and the eventual protagonist in this is Darby Allin. So even coming into the show, I'm like, well, Orange Cassidy isn't going to win because Darby Allin should be the one to beat Jon Moxley. Now, the Christian thing isn't going to help because soon as Darby Allin beats Jon Moxley, then here can kind of come Christian. So I don't really know how I really feel about it. But Darby Allin's the one to beat Jon Moxley. That's the whole thing that I got out of this.
I personally, that's why I don't like the Christian. I don't like that Christian Cage is sort of like looming over us like a dark cloud right now, especially because I didn't want them to do this. And the reason why I didn't want them to do this way is because, if you're making these big shenanigans, like they really made it seem like Christian Cage was cashing in, like this was happening right then and there. They did a good job of making you think it was happening there, to the point where I'm kind of like, why would you do it if it's not actually going to happen?
Right.
To me, it kind of felt like we didn't need all of this.
Mm-mm.
I know that, and I think that the reason why they did all of this was because maybe they felt that having Jon Moxley win in a match that everybody and their mothers knew was going to win maybe wasn't a satisfying ending to the show. But I would have preferred that over to all of this additional stuff. Or maybe if we got to the whole bit where we did get the parking lot scene afterwards, that's fine, right? Cool, whatever. We got to see Darby on the show. That was great. But if there was another way we could have gotten there without everything else that happened in between the finish of the match and the running over of the car, because I just felt like at one point it was just too much. And I really, really hate that they made us think that the Christian Cage thing was happening and then it didn't. And now I'm even more concerned that when Darby Allin, because before I wasn't on board with that, I was not on board with the idea of, Darby winning the title and then having Christian Cage cash in on him. I was not on board with Christian Cage ruining Darby Allin's moments, because I want to see Darby Allin become AEW World Champion, and I want to see him like live it up, I don't want to see him get screwed. I would be freaking pissed. And so now I'm sitting here going, shit, maybe that is a possibility. And I really, really hope that that's not a possibility.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Christian thing is going to continue to lose. It's a concept that I don't really like in general, and this isn't making it better. Like, Christian can just come and do this cash-in thing. The cash-in thing is like, gets unfortunate. Yeah, I'm kind of hearing what you're saying. I think they could have maybe did Moxley beats him. They continue beating on Orange Cassidy. Then the conglomeration just comes down, makes the save. And then that's how that's how the Death Riders get to the parking lot. The Christian thing, I didn't believe it. One, because I know Christian's not going to cash in on a babyface, and he hasn't been telling the story with the Death Riders at all. So why would he be out here trying to cash in on Moxley, who got a crew of people who are consistently on his back helping him out? It just didn't really make a lot of sense for the story. But I feel like they knew that we knew the result of the match, so they try to add some extras to try to send us home happy. In the show with Darby Allin, who's like the face of AEW, kind of makes sense, but it just felt like a little too much. Overbooking, like you said.
Right. I agree with you too, where like you were expecting him to cash in on a baby face and not necessarily a heel, with Jon Moxley being that heel. So I don't know, man. It was just a lot that kind of closed out the show, but that's kind of where we're at with things. But now I think the only thing to get excited about is waiting for that moment when Darby Allin finally does it. But then we're all gonna have like the nerve-wracking, well, is Christian Cage gonna come in there and fuck it all up? Probably.
He probably is. Yeah, I'd err on the side of probably. Like, that's gonna be my first bet that I make, is like guaranteed that Christian cashes in on when Darby Allin wins the championship.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into some of these super chats here. We got David Reed here who says, based on closing, 4-way at World's End. So the 4-way would be, who are we thinking? Jon Moxley,
Jay White,
Hangman, or Darby? No, too soon, huh? If you're gonna do it, you got to do it, I think, on a singles.
Where does Christian land? Does he not land since he has the contract?
Go home, Christian. I love you, but I don't like this whole contract thing. I really don't. I really don't.
Just because I like Christian a lot, but I don't have interest in seeing him as world champion.
Right. So. And I'm like, okay, do you think there's a place where he does do the cash in, but it's a failed cash in? Or you don't think they do Christian Cage dirty like that, especially since he's the first one to do this in AEW?
It'd just kind of feel like a waste. You know what I mean? Like, they did all this, and then the end of it is he doesn't even cash in. It's like, well, why did you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'll feel like if he doesn't. But then I don't want him to, so I don't know.
We got Sheldon Jackson here who says, do you think Darby is the next challenger for Mox, or at World's End we get a 4-way between Mox, Christian, Hangman, and Switchblade? So it's interesting that two people have already mentioned this 4-way as a possibility. For me, look, if we get the title changing hands, and let's say Darby wins in a 4-way, I guess I don't mind it. I think considering the parties, like let's say they do have Hangman involved and Jay White, it does make it feel a lot more grander. But I am personally that person who likes to stick to singles matches for main events, especially with world titles.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, it just feels like a little bit more prestigious if it's like two guys are fighting for the world championship. It's one-on-one. It's just them. It's going on. The champion doesn't have to get pinned type of stipulations that they add on to multi-man matches can make it a little convoluted. So yeah, I'd rather it just be a one-on-one. But I mean, the fact that people are now thinking it's going to be a 4-way, I guess they told a good story.
Right. We got Rob Herring Jr. here who says, I wish Kenny Omega or Edge would have showed up tonight. Dude, I thought we were going to see Kenny Omega, not Edge, because I'm expecting him to still be away for a little bit because it hasn't been too long since he got hurt. Right. It's only been a couple of months. So I still was not expecting Edge on the horizon. But Kenny Omega, though, I was definitely expecting here, especially because, like I said, during the watch along, I had said that I feel like Kenny Omega almost feels like he's part of a different company right now. He doesn't feel like an AEW guy right now with all of the stuff that he's been, announcing. And I know the match is happening for AEW and Wrestle Dynasty with Gabe Kidd and all of that. Trust me, I know all of that. But because we haven't physically seen it on AEW, it feels like it's happening for somebody else, like not for AEW.
Yeah, because he hasn't came and talked on the show and been like, I'm coming back to wrestling. Like he said, I'm coming back to wrestling, but in a different company. So there could be a section of these AEW fans that don't even know about this. You know what I mean? The way that they're kind of presenting it. But yeah, I kind of expecting him to show up tonight too, and surprised that he didn't. But I mean, he can't be far away. Can't be too far away.
We got Ten Ruza here who says, whoever is booking the ending for their pay-per-views needs to stop or need to remember to get those big moments right at the end. Copeland or Kenny Omega should have came out. So I'm surprised by how many people were expecting Adam Copeland to come out Edge.
No, that's the thing that I've been hearing like this week consistently. Actually, like this last month of like people being like, Edge is close to return. Like, I don't think Edge is close to return. I don't know where people are getting this at. Like, he hurt himself pretty bad in like May, like not that long ago. Like they were saying like 9, 10 months, a year. Like he's gonna be out for some more months, you guys. Like that, it was pretty bad.
I know he did an interview recently, so maybe something was there. I didn't see the whole thing or catch the whole thing, but I did see that in glancing. So maybe that's where that happened. Who knows? We got Matt Logan here who says back to the hotel after the pay-per-view, 4 stars. All right. So Matt Logan, who was actually at the pay-per-view, that's good to hear that you enjoyed the show. Like overall, I enjoyed the show. Some parts did feel a little long. And like I said, just some matches that I kind of hoped were a little stronger. Let's work our way backwards, Reg. We usually work our way forward. Let's work backwards. Bobby Lashley, Swerve, Strickland. Bobby Lashley gets a win, locks in the Hurt Lock on Swerve, and Swerve is out.
Yeah, this one was pretty surprising. Like, I thought that this outcome was possible. Not the outcome of Bobby Lashley winning. I thought that Bobby Lashley would win, but kind of how the match was structured. And a lot of it was like Bobby Lashley throttling this fool because he's Bobby Lashley, 8-time world champion, former MMA guy. He's huge. Like, of course, he's going to come in and kick ass. But I like how they did it of like, that's the beginning. But then Swerve kind of got his legs under him, started to be Swerve, came through, hit him with that Swerve stomp through the announce table. There was a bunch of moments where he was being elusive and getting away from Lashley, kind of getting Lashley off of his game, confusing him. And I thought that would be what kind of pulled it out for Swerve. But Bobby Lashley was just Bobby Lashley. So tough. You got to like bring a different strategy against him. It shows that Swerve is a top guy over here, and he's been beating a bunch of the top guys in AEW, but Bobby Lashley's a different breed, and you have to bring something much different in order to beat him in a match. And so it shows how strong of a character Bobby Lashley is. And I don't think it hurt Swerve too much in there because he's going to have his comeback, and I think that's going to be even stronger.
We got 2 comments that I want to read here. This is from I Make Beats, who says Kenny Omega said he doesn't want to take anyone's spot and New Japan is home. Plus, he might feel more comfortable returning in Japan than the US to be an easier transition or whatever. And then in regards to Edge, Dom here says during his interview, he said he thought he was close. Okay, so that's probably where a lot of that rumor mill probably started. Don also adds that he added that he thought he's that he still has some rehab to do. Okay, so clearly still not there for Adam Copeland and whatnot. But yeah, I think Kenny Omega was definitely the one that I was expecting to see here at Full Gear. So now, given that we didn't see Kenny at Full Gear, I feel like we got to see Kenny Omega at World's End.
Yeah. Before the year's over, I expect to see Kenny Omega in an AEW ring. He got people pretty good with his little AEW doesn't need me right now and all this. And it's like, dog, AEW needs you at all times. Come on, you're Kenny Omega.
Tony Khan just said it in the media call. He said, like, we need Kenny Omega, and that's gonna boost up some numbers.
Like as in wrestling storyline and just in life, like AEW needs Kenny Omega. It's fucking Kenny Omega. Like the dream matches, all the angles, everything that he represents, like he's way the needed. You can't even fool me into saying that AEW doesn't need you.
Right, I feel ya. And then, of course, in regards to Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland, good match there. Bobby looked phenomenal in this. Of course, this was his AEW pay-per-view debut, his first match on
first real match.
Yeah, his first real match on an AEW card. Because I mean, he had his match on Dynamite, sure, but that was against just 2 randos. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, a cheeseburger. I don't want to disrespect cheeseburger like that, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. This was the match, and this was the match that we were waiting to see, like what version of Bobby Lashley we're going to get. And he fucking looked awesome, dominant, all of that. He came to play, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, he speared Swerve through the barricade at one point, broke the barricade in half. Like he looked strong. He looked dominating like we expected Bobby Lashley to look. I'm excited to see him against so many more different styles in AEW. This is a really good start right here. Swerve looked like $1 million, great gear. They got Nana at the end, just sad work. I thought that everybody involved was playing a good role though. This was this match did its job.
All right, let's continue working our way backwards. Konosuke Takeshita defeating Ricochet in an AEW International Championship. I'll start it off here, Reg. The bar did not meet the standard that we had. after the big triple threat match that we had with Konosuke Takeshita, Ricochet, and Will Ospreay, that had us screaming here like schoolgirls when we did that watch along. And this match, I was ready. I was like, okay, I'm not going to read any comments. I want to pay attention to this match. I'm ready to like not blink and just pay attention to this matchup. And unfortunately, it just didn't hit. These two guys, you guys got to understand, are at a different level. And again, given based on what we just saw with that triple threat match, we were expecting something of that caliber. Maybe not as great as a triple threat match, but still something a little bit closer to what that match did. And it just kind of felt like it just felt off. It didn't hit the mark.
Yeah, this one felt like they wanted to get into the next gear and they never did. This is probably my most disappointing match of the show. And it was fine. There wasn't anything bad or wrong with it. It just like didn't do what it should have. This is Takeshita and Ricochet, two of the best wrestlers in the whole world. Takeshita's been on a fucking tear. Ricochet's been having a lot of super fun matches coming into this. So I was like, oh, these two guys are going to bang. Like Denise said, we had the triple threat match that we were going absolutely insane over. And with the placement of this match, I was like, oh, this is going to be hot. They're going to ring the bell. They're going to go for it. Ricochet's going to be going a million miles per hour. Takeshi's going to be on fire. And they just like worked like a match. It was fine. There wasn't anything wrong with it. It's kind of a slow and methodical pace. They definitely got kicked into a higher gear as the match went on, but it wasn't what I expected these two guys to do in this position. We had a couple of matches before this that we're going to get into that were kind of the same, like slower pace. They're working, they're telling stories. And so I was like, this match is going to be high impact, and it just wasn't. So it was kind of disappointing considering what these guys, we know what these guys can do, and they feel like they didn't get to do it.
I think anybody else would have been like, oh, this was a fine match. Thumbs up all across the board. But there was just different standards, different expectations, higher expectations for Takeshita and for Ricochet. But Takeshita continues his run as AEW International Champion. Ricochet, again, I've loved every Ricochet match so far that we've seen in AEW thus far. And this one, again, was just kind of mid. It was just,
and it was fine. It wasn't a bad match at all, but it was just like, for what these guys can do, we needed more.
Because we're sickos, Reg, and the sickos really want high-level, top-notch stuff.
We're the best wrestle, you guys. You guys told me this, and I know I've seen both of you guys do it. I know you're amazing. Why didn't it happen?
We got Matt Logan here who says, live at the arena, fans are upset about no Toni Storm, but popped for Mina's bloody kiss. That was phenomenal. Can't wait to get into that. But actually, let's get into that now. We did have a moment where we saw Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa, and they're doing their little celebration on the stage. They got this very seductive photos up there. They're sharing their champagne. But Reg, the second that I saw them do the little thing with their arms where they both serve each other champagne, something didn't look right in the eye of Mariah May. And it wasn't the black eye, though. It was just something within her. I looked at her and I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like the same friendship that they normally have. And of course, we knew that their friendship was going to come to an end, right? We just didn't know exactly when it was going to happen or how it was going to happen. And in this particular case, I loved what they did here because they didn't make Mina Shirakawa look stupid. I loved that when Mariah tried to hit her with the champagne, that Mina ducked her and then instead roundhouse kicked her freaking glass out of her hand. That was cool. And it made Mina look smart, where like she wasn't some, blindsided baby face that didn't see it coming. She did. And then she ends up like taking down Mariah May off of the stage, and they go into this table bump. And afterwards, I thought that was going to be enough. But then we see some sicko stuff where she starts to, she's bloodied up in her mouth, by the way. And she starts to lick Mariah May's face. At least I think that's what she was doing. To me, it looked like she was sucking the soul out of her. But hey, that's what we got here. I thought this was cool. I liked the way that they set this all up. Again, Mina didn't look stupid, and she looked really creepy and crazy. Again, licking Mariah May.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of the best part about it, is like we all kind of knew what this was leading to. It's like, oh, there's probably going to be a moment where Mariah turns on Mina. And the fact that when Mariah initially grabs the champagne bottle, the fact that she didn't just hit her in the back of the head, Like if you would have hit her in the back of the head, that would have worked for her. But the fact that you let her turn around, if she would have turned around and Mariah just clocked her, that would have been, like you said, Denise, it would have made Mina look so stupid. He was like, why are you? And you could see the whole thing coming. But the fact that she ducked, kicked it out of her hand, got to live in the moment, take everything in, and then sell it, I thought kind of made it a little bit better. They go off the stage. Mina comes up, bloody mouth, kisses Mariah on the head. There's blood everywhere. She looked insane. They're pulling her off and her mouth's all bloody. She's screaming. I thought that it made Mina look really cool. It added on to Mariah of like, she's a snake, but she's going to snake you to your front, which is kind of admirable, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. And it kind of built anticipation for this match. I like this little angle.
Yeah, I thought this was very fun, and it did a whole lot it was a short angle, but again, it did a whole lot. It was very effective.
Yeah.
Matt did say, by the way, that people were upset that there was no Toni Storm.
That's fine.
I also kind of expected Toni Storm for a second here, only because, again, that media call, Tony Khan kind of made it seem like she was definitely nearer rather than closer. And I know the whole little kayfabe story that she did where she was retiring and all of that, but obviously everybody knew that was kayfabe.
Yeah, it's just like when you get angles like what feels like TV type things of like celebrations or contract signings. Anytime they're on a pay-per-view, you're like, there must be a reason that this was on a pay-per-view. So I understand why people thought that Toni Storm was going to come out.
Ten Ruza here says wanted someone to help Swerve or a fourth Hurt Syndicate member. Interesting here. I didn't feel like this needed it, only because I thought Bobby Lashley looked so dominant that I liked Bobby Lashley being dominant and Swerve not having someone to help him out. And that's why we were talking on Dynamite this Wednesday, how like Swerve had to get one step ahead of the Hurt Syndicate by trying to outsmart them. And that's what he did. So I almost feel like Swerve is good off like on his own. Of course, you always want to see a baby. I guess Swerve is the babyface now, but he hasn't done a lot of bad things. But you do always want to see them get a little bit of help.
Yeah, I mean, Swerve is in the same position that Roman Reigns is in, of like, he screwed everybody on his way up to becoming world champion, and now the consequences are coming back, and he has nobody to help him because he screwed all of his friends in order to become world champion. So that's kind of where he's still stuck, and I think that's the story that they're trying to tell of like, Swerve was a bad man to get to this position, so of course he's not going to have anybody to help him. But when somebody does help him, that's when it's going to be lit.
I feel ya. Fourth Hurt Syndicate member. Did you think that wasn't happening today? I guess I didn't really think about that specifically today, although we have been talking about who the fourth member would be for a while now.
Yeah, I feel like every podcast that I have, someone's like, hey, what about a fourth member of Hurt Syndicate? And I feel like it's on the horizon, but I didn't expect it today, and I don't expect it in the immediate next 2-3 week future. Like, it's going to happen, but I feel like they're going to tell more stories with, like you're saying, Denise, like they're going to establish Bobby Lashley more. They're going to put more on Shelton. They're going to establish this little unit before they get somebody new in there.
We got Michael is so dope. Wow. You know what I thought his name was for a second, Michael? You know how Kaleidoscope? I thought he was doing Michael Scope.
Like Kaleidoscope?
Like Kaleidoscope, but with Michael. And I was like, wait, what? All right, I choked. All right, cue the you fucked up chance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Michael so dope says, why are we doing rest holds on a pay-per-view? Who had the rest holds?
A bunch of people.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm not a rest holds kind of person. We were talking about the Konosuke Takeshita Ricochet match being a lot slower than what we expected, but I don't know. I guess in some cases it's fine, in some other cases you're just like, come on, move it along.
It's funny because Michael is talking about the standard that AEW say. Anytime we have like these kind of like issues or reservations with the pay-per-view, we're judging it off of what you guys presented to us. We're usually used to AEW putting on high impact shows that are hard. All the matches are bam, bam, bam. And when they're not that, we're just like, well, you know, the standard that you set makes us believe that this is going to be some crazy shit. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that crazy that we want what you gave to us more, you know?
So we're bougie. We're wrestling bougie.
A fact, a huge fact. Wrestling fans are the bougiest people ever. Like, you gave us the standard, so we want that standard to be met every time.
We're wrestling Karens.
Honestly, last time you
speak to the manager, Tony Khan.
last time you put a mint on my pillow and there ain't no mint on my pillow, get a mint on my pillow. That's how we are, dude.
No, but it's true though. I mean, come on. I was just sitting here. We were just sitting here being like, Konosuke Takeshita and Ricochet didn't meet our standards. We are wrestling Karens.
And they still had a badass match, and we're just like, not enough.
Michael, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Ted Ruza here who says, Reg's face when Mina came out, don't blame you.
No,
What's
at
your
one
face
point
like,
I was
Reg?
like, at one point I was like, damn, we're on a pod, but like she had the glitter up here. I was like,
Reg was ready to skeet.
hey.
Was that appropriate to say? Is that appropriate? We're gonna get canceled. We're gonna get canceled. Oh my god, we're gonna get canceled.
Reg
All right.
is ready to skeet is crazy.
Hey, I just learned the meaning of the word skeet, guys. Let me have some fun using it. All right, I'm just getting my kicks in.
Oh
All right.
my god.
Rob Herring Jr. says surprised Deonna Purrazzo didn't interrupt Mariah. I think only because they had all this stuff planned with Mina. I think that's the only
thing. I think because when Phil and I were talking about this segment on Grapsity, it's like they've been building this Mina and Mariah match for so long. You don't want to get anything in there to muddy it up because we need to get to this match. And that might also play to why Tony wasn't there, is because like we need to get to officially this match. We need to establish that these people are going to wrestle. And if you would have brought Tony in, nobody would have cared about the Mina match. You know what I mean? Like soon as Tony's here, all we care about is Tony. We don't care about the angle that they were trying to build.
Yeah, I feel you. It would have been another situation where overbooked again.
Yes.
We got $1 here with a generous super chat. Thank you so much to $1. He says, Hurt Business should come out on Dynamite and declare Bobby the #1 contender. He is money.
Well, I feel like this is leading to, I thought that they should have made this match, the winner enters the Continental Classic. I feel like Bobby's going to come out, or not even come out, on Wednesday. He's going to be in the Continental Classic and he's going to really start establishing himself. And that's what's going to do it.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much to $1. I think you're definitely right. I mean, I think we've known for a long time that Bobby Lashley is money. And it feels like right now he's in a place where there is a caress in his storylines. Like there's a purpose for everything that he's doing instead of just being like, lost in the shuffle. So good for him, man. Good for him. $1. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep it going. We are on Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry for the AEW TNT Championship. This was the one that we ended up seeing a brand new champion be crowned, and it is Daniel Garcia. Daniel has definitely got it over. We were waiting. The last time when he wrestled MJF, we thought he was going to defeat MJF. It didn't happen. Things were kind of iffy with the contract status of Daniel Garcia, but now, we know he's completely all in on AEW, and look at him reap this reward because he has gotten over. Dude was hyped in the match. This was I went into it going like, I don't really care about this match. And I came out of it going, it wasn't too bad at all. And I was actually very thrilled to see Daniel Garcia pick up this moment because Jack Perry wasn't doing it for me. He wasn't cutting it for me as AEW TNT Championship. I was bored with him as champion. So I'm ready to see Daniel Garcia and see what he can do as champion.
Yeah, this match exceeded the I didn't have high expectations because I also haven't been loving what Jack Perry is doing, and I think that it's time for an overhaul. I think some of the story they told going up to it was kind of silly. They were doing the Batman and Joker villain thing, and it's like, I see what you guys are doing, but just get to the graps. I thought that the match was super fun, though. The Jack Perry dominated a lot of it, getting revenge on getting kidnapped and like really showing Daniel Garcia that like all that shit you're talking and all that stuff you're putting me through, I'm going to pay you back for it. And I thought he did pay him back for it. There's that point where he powerbombed Daniel Garcia through the table at ringside, and it looked like he got some of them on the barricade too. Like it looked like a double whammy powerbomb, then dumped the trash on him. Thought that was all really good. And then when they got back to the ring and Daniel Garcia started with the pile drivers and he started to really turn it up and lock in on Jack Perry, I thought that was great because they told the story of what the underdog that Daniel Garcia is and all that he's went through to get to this match, and for him to finally win a big one, win a championship, establish himself in AEW. I thought that it was a really good moment.
Yeah, I feel you. It definitely was, and now it's going to be exciting to see what he does moving forward, especially because
Yep.
it feels like this moment was a little bit overdue. Again, I do think he should have probably defeated MJF, but of course, in hindsight, we didn't know, or at least rather, the company didn't know whether or not he was leaving AEW or not.
Right.
We got Travis Lindsay here who says less matches, but still 4 hours. That's why it didn't hit.
Oh,
So we had, God, I
yeah.
still feel like we had a lot of matches. We had
It's
12
9.
matches, but 3 of them were on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Usually we have like what, 15?
I feel like some main cards have had like 13 matches or something, and that's a big difference going from 12, 13 to 9. And it felt like that's what kind of people have been asking for online. People have been saying less matches, more time, and it's like maybe more matches and more firepower. Everybody's just going a million miles per hour is the way to continue to do it with AEW. You can continue to kind of test these formats and things with having more shows. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do moving forward.
Right, because I was tired at some points. I felt my energy go down right before the Bobby Lashley Shelton Benjamin match. I'm sorry, Bobby Lashley Swerve Strickland. And I think the reason why my energy went down was because of the Takeshita Ricochet match, where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this wasn't what I expected. Womp, womp, womp. My energy started to go down, and I felt it. And I'm like, inside of my head, I was thinking, like, why am I tired? Like, this isn't my first rodeo with an AEW pay-per-view. Like, I should not be tired. Like, everybody here who has committed to multiple AEW pay-per-views knows what the AEW pay-per-views are like. And there's been times where I've gone to the shows and I sit down, have a little chat, watch the show, and all of a sudden show's over. And I'm like, oh shit, that flew by really fast. Great. And this time I was a little tired.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just getting used to having the less matches with the more time.
Yeah, which is going to work out for the wrestlers, but I think you got to figure out a balance between what you're doing and what you're trying to do and kind of do these things. Yeah, there was a point I kind of started to slow down too, and just because things weren't as fast and high paced as I wanted them to be.
You can tell when you and I started to get tired.
Yeah.
I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, shit, this is a good match, ain't it, Denise? Wow, man, big clams.
Good punch. What's that direct punch, punch, punch?
Good punch.
Oh man.
And I feel embarrassed because Denise and I are both on fucking California time. There are people that are watching this shit at 3 a.m. and we're just like, we're done. It's 7:30.
Yeah, seriously. Travis Lindsay, thank you so much for the super chat. And yeah, not a bad point made there, by the way. All right, next up, my match of the night, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. A star was made, guys. Oh! All right, a totally different style of a Will Ospreay match. Obviously not totally different, but not the 100 miles per hour type of match that you have come to know and expect from Will Ospreay. This was a little bit more slow paced too, but had those really big exclamation point moments throughout the entire thing. Kyle Fletcher did get to dominate a whole lot on Will Ospreay. By the end of it too, there was a moment where I thought like, oh, Will Ospreay's for sure going to fire back at this point. I was expecting Kyle to win because I just felt like that was what was going to do more for the story and do more for Kyle Fletcher, especially because he really, really has been nailing being a heel right now. The work that he's doing as a heel, you can see that confidence oozing out of him. Like this is almost, to me, like this is the feud that his career has really been waiting for to really take it to that next level, to become one of the top guys in AEW. And him getting a clean, ladies and gentlemen, clean victory over Will Ospreay is pretty freaking huge.
It's gigantic. It's what is needed. It's what the story was leading to. I thought that the right winner was here, and they did it even cleaner than I expected. I thought that Mark Davis was going to play a part in the finish of this, but no, Kyle Fletcher just got in there, told Will Ospreay he was going to do a job, spent most of the match dominating him and beating his ass and breaking his neck and slamming him in weird positions. And he showed that he belongs in the ring. His confidence was like, I'm better than Will Ospreay. I don't care about tonight. I'm better than Will Ospreay and every night. And like, it just really showed that he came to win this match. When we gave ratings for this match, and after the match was over, I was like, there's something about it that didn't take it over the edge for me. I thought it was a great match all around. It established Kyle, but there was one point where they did Ospreay tried to hit him with the hidden blade, and he did like a you can't do that. And the reason that I didn't like it is because they just did that with Swerve. Remember Swerve did the thing where he hoked up. Brian tried to hit him
Oh
with the knee, and he hoked up. I had just seen that, and I think that's why I kind of took away from it, because like we just kind of seen the same. There's a big, young, new, tough guy that no matter what, your shit can't stop him. And I think I was just thinking of that, and I was like, they're kind of doing the same thing, so that's why it kind of took me out of it a little bit. But regardless of that, I think they executed with Kyle. I think that him fucking beating Ospreay's ass, one of the best wrestlers in the world. People haven't treated Ospreay like Kyle treated him tonight in AEW specifically. So it showed that he has been studying him. He has been watching every step. He has been learning the way to beat Ospreay. And for him to execute it a clean sweep, I think it really establishes his character and really shows that Kyle Fletcher's one to watch out for.
To me, 100% the best match of the night. That's how I'm feeling. Was this your match of the night, or is it another one?
I think I liked Mercedes and Stat more.
I was gonna say that was the other one that I was expecting for anybody else to say. All right. Next up, we got Jay White and Hangman Adam Page, with Jay White defeating Hangman Page. Dang, where do I even go here? I'm like, I just feel like this was, of course, we got to see a whole lot of Hangman Adam Page targeting the leg of Jay White. That was something that we saw play into the story. I think the only thing that someone didn't think about was that in the match before that, with Mercedes and Kris Statlander, we kind of saw the exact same thing. So it was sort of back to back on that. But I thought Jay White,
the leg thing.
Right. But I did think that Jay White and Hangman Adam Page had enough fire. There was it didn't have enough fire as the Kyle Will Ospreay match, but it had just enough that I do think pulled through a very nice match, where I'm still waiting for that signature match between Jay White and Hangman Page that really takes this feud to a whole other level, because I feel like what we saw with Swerve and Hangman, it was like, okay, these two guys are meant to feud with each other, right? I want to see that moment, that match moment, or happen for Jay White and Hangman Page.
I feel like the story that they've been telling in these two matches as the kind of precursor, because Hangman has to get one over on Jay White, so they have to do another match. And I'm thinking the match should probably be a Texas death match. They need a stipulation.
That's his match.
They need a stipulation match, I think, is what you're wanting, Denise. They need that big, like, at the end of it, they're both dead. There's all kind of plunder and shit in the ring, and we feel like an epic battle. Like, these two matches are awesome that they have. They have great chemistry together. Their finishing sequences are some of the best. Like this match and the last match, the finishing sequences are so good. Them just going tit for tat, trying to counter, trying to get out. Both of them trying to hit their finish. Hangman's trying to hit the buckshot. Jay White's trying to hit the Blade Runner, and they're both just getting in and out. This was the most surprising result of the whole show. Like, I had this one. If I would have bet on one match, I'd be like, Hangman Page is going to win this match, you guys. So
this is the one that screwed you, Reg.
Super surprised when Jay White hits a Blade Runner out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, you guys, and gets the victory over Hangman Adam Page. Well deserved. Great match. I think that Jay White, like you said, Denise, Jay White needs so much more. Jay White should be on top. And I think getting another very high profile victory over Hangman Adam Page is awesome for him and his character. Got him involved in the main event angle now, and like maybe he's going to be in the world title scene.
Jay White on top. Let's go, baby. And I do want that third match with all the plunder and the drama and everything in there, just to kind of switch it up a little bit from what they've done already. But let's get to your match of the night, which was the AEW TBS Championship, Mercedes Mone defeating Kris Statlander. Now, we've been talking a whole lot, and everywhere on social media, everyone's been talking a whole lot about Mercedes Mone. And a lot has been that there has been some stuff missing in her reign. And I 100% get it. I do not think that is without merit. I do think that I think what kind of hurt Mercedes in a way was that she came off of that bad match with Britt Baker. And then from there, it kind of felt like here's the thing, like going into this match with Kris Statlander, I didn't think that the feud going into it felt as hot because we've seen even the Britt Baker Mercedes Mone feud felt a lot hotter heading into it. And then also because I'm sort of comparing everything to the way that things started with Mercedes, which was with Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Mone, like that was the perfect ingredients. Everything. The buildup was phenomenal. Willow was so freaking over. Mercedes and her absolutely delivered in this match. And even though the Mercedes Mone Stephanie Becerra match was really good too, that one didn't really have like a story. Like even though we knew that Mercedes had wrestled her the night that she got injured, great. But that was kind of like insider type of stuff. Some people cared about it. Some people really didn't. It was still a freaking great match. But for the most part, it kind of felt like since All In to right now, there's a lot of question marks surrounding Mercedes Mone. Like when she first came in, it was like, well, she still feels like a WWE version of Mercedes Mone. Like we're not seeing the AEW version of Mercedes Mone just yet. And I do agree with that. And it still feels like for like character-wise, promo-wise, it still feels like a WWE version of Mercedes Mone. And so I think that heading into this match, she really needed a big win. And I'm not talking a big win like her winning a match. I'm talking a big win in terms of proving people wrong or proving people that, hey, she still got it. Like she is still that, she's still that girl that made Sasha Banks into a major freaking name in WWE. Like she is that person that was worth Tony Khan going out there and paying millions of dollars for. And so that's what I mean when I say a big win, in that she came out here and she showed, hey, I'm Mercedes Mone. I got paid this price for a reason. And her match with Kris Statlander was freaking awesome.
Yes, this was I mean, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Mercedes, like you said. There was a lot of controversy on the build up to her and Stat just because of kind of the way they presented. I knew it was going to be different just because Stat's a different character than Willow. Stat's a different character than Britt. She's not the best talker. I wouldn't lean on her to go out there and knock it out of the park with the promo. But like I've been saying, when the fucking bell rings, it doesn't matter. Kris Statlander has it. That's when her charisma shines through. That's when she really is the Kris Statlander that we know and love. So I knew that when they got to the match and the bell rang that they were going to knock it out of the park. I had kept leading up to this week reading Mercedes quotes and Mercedes interviews, and there was that chip on the shoulder factor that you could just kind of feel through her words, and you could see that like she's like, oh, these people got me fucked up. And anytime Mercedes is in a back against the wall position, it's always up from there. Her greatest matches of all time are the ones where they're like, you can't do it. You don't deserve to be in this position. Why are you this? Why are you champion? Why are you here? Why are you this? That's when she comes and knock it out of the park. That's why I knew this match was going to be it. So when they get to the match, it's banging. Mercedes hit the Hurricane Rana on Stat off the apron. I was like, oh, we're going. Like, this is it. We are doing exactly what needs to be executed. They did a leg work angle, and I thought that Stat played a great role in this. She was strong the whole time. She looked like she was trying to take Mercedes out. The way that she was clotheslining and bumping Mercedes through the match was awesome. But that little extra pep in her step that Mercedes had, she was going 100 miles per hour. Her facials were on fire. She's hitting all of her moves. She feels like there's extra behind everything that she was doing. I was like, this is Mercedes right here. This is the big contract wrestler. This is the one that's had all the championships, the one that's main evented all the shows. The reason that she's being paid is because regardless of all the buildup, regardless of talking, regardless of however you want to get to this match, when the bell rings, there's not a lot of people in the world better than Mercedes Mone. She's a big match wrestler, and I thought this was a big match that they wrestled tonight. Just two women trying to win a championship. Mercedes is doing everything in the world to beat Stat, and their facials show that it's going to take something else. Like, I can't just hit my regular moves on this woman because she's extraordinary. And so the way that she kind of rolled her up at the end and used her hurting leg to kind of psych out her brain and get the 3 count on it, I thought it was a really smart finish. Yeah, this was my match of the night right here, just because these ladies are working so hard. They had their backs up against the wall, and that's a perfect storm for them to go execute this great match. This match is awesome.
I almost want Mercedes to keep that chip on her shoulder. I think she needs to keep that chip on her shoulder because that is what's firing her up. It lit a fire underneath her. And we got Uriel Landeros here, who's been a member for 21 months, who says by far this was Mercedes' best AEW match. For me, it's still Willow, just because, again, I said it was just a perfect combination of Willow getting over, this being Mercedes' big feud. There was a lot of anticipation. The match was great. It got the biggest reaction on that pay-per-view that night. So I still got to go with Willow on this one.
Yeah, with the story and what represented in that match. They had the match first where Mercedes got injured, then Willow started to come up. They're getting like all of the things surrounding that makes that a better match and more important for me. But this one's right next to it. And if I watch both of them back to back, I don't know, things could be different. But yeah, both those matches are incredible.
Uriel Landeros, thank you so much. All right, let's keep it going. MJF defeated Roderick Strong. I remember nothing from this match, Reg. Nothing. If you told me pick a standalone moment, something that really stood out to you.
One moment.
Oh my God. They fought on the outside for a bit.
That's your moment, as they fought on the outside.
I can't remember anything that happened in this match, Reg.
Who won?
Who won? Who was in it? Who was in it? MJF wins, by the way, guys. MJF won. But, dude, like, there was just not much here. I didn't think this was a pay-per-view quality match.
Duh, Denise Salcedo. Roderick Strong was in this match, and you're the hugest Roderick Strong hater that there is in the world.
I'm not a Roderick Strong hater. It's just that, all right, fine, and Reg, you tell me how marvelous this match was.
Listen, I thought that this match was super fun. There was points where MJF's chest was purple and bleeding because he's in a match with Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong chops the crap out of people. But I think, do you think it's because
you're trying to find something in this match?
I'm trying to see what
you're
happened
inventing
here.
A whole ass new match in your head.
Do you think it's because Adam Cole wasn't involved as to why it?
No,
I just don't understand what happened.
See, you don't got nothing, Reg.
I liked the match. I thought it was pretty hard hitting. MJF came back. It was a Roderick Strong, like, it's not super flashy. It's just some hard hitting ass wrestling that, like, if you really get into it and you're a sicko and you watch it in a vacuum, they probably did some amazing stuff. But for the placement and what it was on the pay-per-view, it didn't hit like it should have.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I got nothing like crazy amazing to say about it. So we're moving on. 4-way for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Again, Private Party defended against the Outrunners, Malachi Black and Brody King, and then the Acclaimed. The big things here is Malachi Black was on fire. Like, to me, he was the MVP of this match. He was great to watch. He was on it. Private Party retained. Perfect. Of course, they had to. They just won the titles. It would have been fucked up if they would have lost right now. Like, I just would have been like, why'd you guys do them dirty like that for? And then secondly, Max Caster was getting a ton of heat. They really teased more so this breakup between Anthony Bowens and Max Caster.
Yeah, I thought that the most newsworthy thing besides, Private Party getting their official win on pay-per-view was the Acclaim stuff of, like, Denise at one point was like, is Max Caster really getting hot right now? Because the crowd was on his ass.
Thought for a second it was shoot, but it wasn't until I saw Bowens' reaction when I realized, like, oh, okay, maybe it's not a shoot.
Right, because the crowd was on Max Caster's ass, dude. Anytime he would get in the match, they were saying fuck Max Caster. They're jeering at him, throwing stuff at him. And so he starts working the crowd, getting into it, being like, no, fuck y'all too. And so that caused Anthony Bowens to get involved, and they're teasing this breakup. And I thought that was really intriguing stuff going on there. But yeah, Malachi Black, since this, I don't know what that Adam Cole match was, but everything besides that Adam Cole match, he's felt like a new fire is lit underneath him. He's felt like a different wrestler. He's hitting his stuff 100%. He feels like he's excited to be at work and excited to be in this matches. Brody King was on fire. House of Black played a great role in this. The Outrunners did their thing in this. I thought this was a really fun way to open the show, but most importantly, getting Private Party that win in the New York tri-state area and their families in the crowd, and they have that connection to this side of the country. I thought that it was a really great way to start the show and kind of tell the story of Mox told everybody they need to step up. Private Party was one of the teams. They did step up. They started the show. They're the tag team champions. Really cool story there.
All right, well, there we go. That was the main show. Now, for the pre-show, there was only one match that we saw in the pre-show, right?
Boom.
Yeah, there was one match. I was going to say, unless you watch some of the other ones, but the only match that I watched and that Reg watched on the pre-show was Big Boom AJ defeating QT Marshall with the Rizzler there as the guest timekeeper. I mean, guys, what can I say? What can I say? They brought the boom.
They brought the boom. Listen, the Rizzler is over. He was maybe the most over person on the whole show when he came out. Big pop. Everybody was chanting, "We want Rizzler." Like, this guy was over. He kept hitting his spot. Him standing up on the turnbuckle. Hilarious. The spear that Big Justice hit on that. Like, all of this was just very funny stuff. And it was on the undercard. Like, it's fine. Like, it didn't hurt anybody. A lot of people were watching it at the time. Like, it did its job. These guys are on Fallon promoting it. It's like, it worked.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, harmless. I know a lot of people were like looking down on it, and
people were harmed.
When I first saw it, I was like that's where we're at now. But whatever, it's all fun. I loved the Big Justice spot where he went in there and went after QT. I thought that was freaking awesome. I was so glad that they had him do a little spot like that. Cause I'm like, dude, that's gonna live with like for the rest of his life.
Cool.
Like, that is going to be like a highlight of his life. And I was saying this during the watch along, but one of those kids is gonna become a wrestler. It's either gonna be Big Justice or the Rizzler. One of them is gonna become a wrestler because ain't no way they didn't get the bug.
Dude, I couldn't imagine at 10 or 11 years old being involved in a fucking wrestling pay-per-view in front of the crowd. We're on the show. My dad is fucking in the ring wrestling and I'm involved too. That's a dream, you guys. A dream.
I don't even know if it's a dream. I don't think my brain is creative enough.
Your brain couldn't even dream that up. That's how crazy it is.
That's actually really sad, honestly. But no, honestly, it was very fun, and it was so crazy to hear like the "We Want Rizzler" chants and just seeing him just do his little thing. And he's a little kid. It's so cute.
A baby.
Yeah, he's a baby. So it was fun. It was harmless, and they did a lot of promotion for AEW, like you said. Everybody here in the watch along was telling us there was like 76,000 people or so watching on the YouTube channel. I'm like, that's great. And obviously this is going to also be getting some mainstream media attention. So that's some good coverage there for AEW.
Listen, send the Rizzler to Mexico, the Rizzler versus K Monito in a match.
Yo, I would fly over there to see that.
The Rizzler K Monito.
Yes. Like, I gotta get front row tickets to the Rizzler versus Ke Monito. And then afterwards, he wrestles Ke Malito.
Yes.
Go for it. Make the rounds. We got a super chat here from Broadway Joe who says, whatever they're paying Miss Moné and Will, add another 0 to it. Carry job. There you go. Give them more money. There's a reason why they're getting those big paychecks from.
They're already getting a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, from Tony Khan. Money. They're very talented, so good for them. Yeah. Broadway Joe, thank you so much for the super chat.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty, everyone.
Appreciate all the super chats, you guys. Y'all are so cool.
We did it over almost 6 hours. Almost 6 hours of being live here today. And both Reg and I had 3-hour shows before this in the morning with him and Grapsody and me and Busted Open. I went to a party, which feels like it happened 40 years ago. But we did it. We had fun watching and talking about Full Gear. We seriously thank you, each and every single person that supports our show. I was just telling Reg that over on Blue Sky and even Twitter and all the apps, honestly, we have been seeing just so many more people talk about our show. And that makes us so happy because at the end of the day, like, we can promote our show all we want, but word of mouth really does go a long way. That is promotion because it's fans talking to other fans about, what people in the space are doing. So we see that. Reg and I see it. We talk about it. We get excited about it. And it's just really cool. So thank you so much to anybody that supports this show and supports this channel. I'm just so happy. So thank you so much to everybody. Before we go, please do not forget that I do have, and I was promoting this right before, so let me promote it one more time. WrestleMiss starting December 1st through December 31st. I will be dropping a video each and every single day. Every video will be wrestling related. It's going to be totally different each and every single day. I'm going to have a lot of cool collaborations, so please keep an eye out for that. And then, of course, starting December 2nd, Raw post shows will be happening here on my channel. This Monday is my last day with Fightful, so you guys can tune in for the end of an era, but a start of a new era here on my channel, December 2nd with Santi for the Raw post show. So a lot of stuff happening, but Reg, what do you got going on?
It's just a regular week. I'll be with Denise on Wednesday, and then I'll be giving thanks to the turkeys on Thursday. Sending love out to everybody. Thank you guys for the support. My Thanksgiving is dedicated to all you this year because you guys are super cool, man. That's it. That's all. I ain't got nothing else going on. I appreciate everybody for being here for 5.5 hours with us. Consistently having 2,000 people on a show with Denise and I just talking about wrestling is still insane, and we do not take it
bullshit, honestly.
Just talking bullshit, talk about Taco Bell and fucking anything. Never take it for granted, dude. We are so excited. We sometimes think like we're gonna do a watch along, but like nobody could show up. That is a potential, and you guys always show up, and you guys always keep the chats going. Really appreciate y'all.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you guys here next week. Bye, everyone. Take care.